This model that we're looking at is showing compact bone as well as a little bit of spongy bone. So what we need to do is go through these structural components that are making up compact bone. The first thing you should be able to notice are all the rings shown here. Now, these rings are brought up to show the three-dimensional nature that could be possible. What each one of these whole entire ring structures is going to be an osteon. Now the osteon will first off have what's referred to as the central canal. The central canal is right in the dead middle here. Here's the central canal, there's another one. It's right in the middle of the actual osteon. Inside the central canal, you can see a side view, is going to be blood vessels and nerves. Now, wrapping around the central canal are these concentric layers of calcified matrix. Basically, that's what makes up the bone, makes it hard. But those concentric circles, they're referred to as lamella. So each one of these ridges of bone, each circle, is referred to as lamella. Now, in between the lamella are all these little tiny dots. Each dot, you can see, those are all going to be the osteocyte cells found inside lacuna. Well, remember, osteocyte cells are going to be mature cells. They're maintaining, they're monitoring. But since they're cells, they have to somehow receive nutrients, receive gases. So we have these tiny microscopic cracks that radiate out away from the central canal. Those microscopic cracks are referred to as canaliculi. They're lined for the diffusion of the nutrients and the gases. What we also have just on this edge of the bone, which is going to be the inside of the bone, is going to be some spongy bone. You can notice these little kind of lines. Those lines that are connecting back and forth are called trabeculae. That's the structural unit for the spongy bone. So a little different structure of spongy bone versus compact bone. Now you might notice that the spongy bone you can see is some yellowish here, but then some gray. The gray is trying to show you the endosteum. It's the lining or the membrane lining the inside of the bone. The very back, this is covering the outside of the bone. That's referred to as the periosteum. And what you might be able to see a little bit is these white lines coming through. They're connecting the periosteum to the actual bone itself. Now those little white fibers are called perforating fibers. Sometimes you'll hear them called Sharpey's fibers. So really they're perforating fibers. They're meant to anchor the periosteum to the bone. And the last thing I want to point out is if you notice in these central canals, well, somehow you have to get blood from central canal to central canal. That's where these, which are referred to as the perforating canals, they're carrying the blood from central canal to central canal. So those perforating canals allow the interconnectivity throughout the bone. So that is our compact bone with a little bit of spongy bone on the very inside.